Hello, it is your sleepless god back with what if Ichigo has Kaido's devil fruit. So originally, alright, so not originally, but for the recap, we kind of just went straight over the first episode, explaining how Ichigo is actually more willing to fight hollows than he was previously because he has a weapon from the beginning, his devil fruit ability, where he can suck in the kinetic energy of people's blows. And with that, uh, when he finally gets, with Rukia because of these massive hollows attacking his family, his Zanpakuto toe can change into two different forms. One is a massive mallet, or, if you've seen One Piece, a massive club, basically, that can slam enemies down and really use the kinetic force of it. And the other one is actually what Ichigo's sword looks like in the anime, or his original sword. It's a very just long blade, incredibly sharp, and just a normal zombie, basically just his normal sword. Uh, he basically cut through three hollows at that time, and then destroyed their souls. And that's where we ended off last time. Let's start the what if. As we start with Ichigo waking up, as his father is going to again attacks him, as Ichigo grabs him onto the face as hard as he possibly can and shoves him down to the ground and says, "What the fuck are you doing, old man?" As Ichigo is like kind of happy he's still alive, even though he's trying to undermindedly basically be cold. And he says, and he looks at him and says, "Hey, what about the injuries that and he says his two sisters' names. Is like, what injuries? As his dad looks at him like kind of strangely, like, what do you mean? As he walked downstairs, as he sees a massive hole in their living room, and he's like, as they're like, oh yeah, a truck just blasted through us. Luckily enough, none of us got injured at all through this entire thing. And he says, oh, what the it's just, Ichigo is getting kind of confused because he's like, he knows that they're believing the hollows that attacked last night was a truck. And he says he's just wondering what is Rukia doing at this time? What was that strange? Maybe she went back to her, like, his place that I was talking about before. What is it called? The Soul Society. She says, oh, he looks at his watch. He's like, fuck. As he started cleaning up, he says, fuck, I'm gonna be late. As he starts running to school, as he's like super late, like he only gets there when lunchtime hits. As he starts talking to his friends, as talking to Chad mostly, and a couple of his other buddies. Chad asks, hey, can I, do you want me to help? As Ichigo's like, nah, you don't have to do that for me, thank you very much. As he's walking down the hallways with Chad, relaxing, kind of just talking, as he stops. As he feels the presence, as he grabs Chad and pulls him back, as Irihime passes by. As Irihime looks at him and, kind of freaks out, as Ichigo kind of smiles and waves at her. Ichigo and Irihime's previous connection is a little bit more different. Mostly because Ichigo knew Irihime now, for the reason that when she lost his brother, his only family, he understood that with his mom. So instead of just being a blank slate, never knowing about her, Ichigo comforted her and tried to make it as best as physically possible. They're not friends or anything, nothing like Chad, but they know each other. They don't live anything close by, but he talks to her, just making sure she's healthy and well, as he sees a girl right next to her, a short-haired girl, black hair. As it's the girl that saved him, and as he looks at me, he scrunches his fingers and says, "What the fuck?" As Eerie says, "What the fuck are you doing here?" As Eerie is like, "Oh, do you know this girl?" As Rukia shows him his hand, as Rukia says, "No, we don't know each other at all." As Ichigo looks at her with this air of pain to him, as after lunch and all that things, he goes out to the courtroom as he meets with the girl who saved her life, the annoying bitch herself, as meets out with her, and she looks at him and says, "So," Ichigo looks at her and says, "For an attitude of an asshole, you do pretend to be nice quite easily." As she says, "And for a dick, you can be a nice guy sometimes. But have you decided if you're going to become a Soul Reaper or not? Let me ask the first question here. Why haven't you gone back home?" "I can't. Only Soul Reapers are allowed back, and because you sucked away all my Soul Reaper powers, I'm not allowed to go back. So you're the only one that could save them. I'll tell you this now. I'm no hero. I'll help them out if necessary, but I'm not going to save everyone. And I don't do this because I'm good at it." As Yorihime walks up to him and says, "Good," as he punches him in the gut, as a soul flies out of his body and lands up. And he says, "What the?" He says, looks at her. He says, "Because we have an attack that we have to do." As they both run off, as he's running as fast as humanly possibly can to get to that attack, to get to that place. As he hops over a fence, as he lands, calm as can be, as he sees a massive hollow chasing a child. He's ready to move, he's ready to go, as Rukio stops him. He says, "If you do this, you become a Soul Reaper. Soul Reapers protect both souls." As he sits there for a couple of minutes, realizing, does he want to become a Soul Reaper? Is this his calling? As he smiles and says, "No, I won't. My duty is not to become a Soul Reaper. Never has, never will." As Rukia is shocked, as he rushes out, grabs the kid before it gets slashed, and cuts the monster to both of his legs completely off. It's a spider-looking creature as it disappears for a couple of seconds. He can say, "Remember, Rukia, when you saved me? Was duty in your mind when you saved me? No, that was the last thing in your head. No one is saving someone because of duty, of honor. They do it because they want to." As the monster comes out, as he changes his Zanpakuto to the massive club, as he jumps up and smashes it in the head, crushing the entire floor around it. As his Zanpakuto changes back to the sword, he puts it into his. "So yes, I will become a protector, but I'm no Soul Reaper. Never will, never try." As a kid, he's kind of freaking out. He says, "Hey, don't worry. as he pulls out his zanpakuto and taps him on the head with the hilt. You'd be going to a better place. As he stands up, as he sends him away, as Rukia says, "That was beautiful, you know that, right?" As Ichigo smiles. "Yeah, I guess it was." As he goes back to school and does the final days, he starts walking home with Rukia, talking about the things, mentioning things, as he hears Orihime. As he looks up, he says, "Hey, Orihime." As Orihime is on the ground, he says, "Did that car hit you?" As Orihime looks at him and says, "Oh, yeah, I just..." As he grabs Orihime's head and starts looking at her and just says, Are you okay? Are you good? Are you..." Orihime like starts freaking out a little bit. It's like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. As Ichigo looks down and sees a massive bruise on her leg and says, Did you get that because of the car accident?" Or not the car, the car hitting you. As Rukia kind of leans down and looks at it, as Orihime starts getting awkward and says, I guess so. And it's like, as Ichigo looks at her, "Well, you remember, you take care, okay? Don't do anything bad." As Orihime, waves her hands and leave. As Ichigo looks at Orihime, like squints at her, like looking at. As Rukia looks at him and says, "Something's going on. I know it. And you won't tell me." As Rukia says, "Because I don't know yet. Not completely. I'll tell you when we get to it, okay? I wish you would tell me now." "I'm going home. Do what you want with yours, but I'm leaving you. Please be safe." As he walks across, he goes to his own home. As right now he's reading manga, probably One Piece, as you do. As he's sitting there just like chilling, as his sister busts through the door and says, Ichigo's like, "Hey, what is the first rule when you're entering my room?" And she looks at him and says, "Knocking. But I gotta ask you a question. Did you see my pajamas?" As Ichigo looks at him and says, "Of course not. I haven't seen your pajamas. Why would I have seen your pajamas?" It's like, "I don't know. I'm trying to find them." As Ichigo looks at her and says, Okay, yeah. Have you checked anywhere where they were at? Did you check any places? Where did you check?" He's like, "I checked my room. I checked the laundry. I even checked Dad's room, just in case, like sometimes he's freaky like that." Just understand, but like, as he smells. He shuts his book and yeah, I don't know. I'll try to find them later. She's like, she started grumbling. He's like, "I even lost like a little dress." As he smells, and he opens his closet and he says, as Rukia is right there with her little phone out, "Rukia, what the fuck are you doing?" As Rukia looks at her and says, "Sleeping, obviously. Come on." As in a different world, at a different time, we see a young man dressed in nice clothes with a chain around his belly, looking at Orihime from a window as the window shuts. As he sighs, as he sees hollows pop up right next to him. he tries to run away, as they turn into mist as they grab them, as they send him to a place, a desert, that we will know known as Mundo. As he looks around, he says, "What?" As a ginormous creature says, "Eat him." As he runs as fast as he possibly can, as but they all catch him. They start slowly eating him, munch, 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 as he slowly turns into a hollow. As he screams. So we go back to Ichigo as Rukia gets a phone call. He says, "Shit," as instantly punches Ichigo in the stomach as he turns into a Soul Reaper, as a massive hollow goes through his door and smashes onto his bed as he swings his massive sword. And this is where we're going to end off the video. I hope you guys like it. Remember that when we get 300 subscribers, I will start doing the Percy Jackson what ifs. Or restarting the Percy Jackson what ifs, I should say. As well as, remember, comment down below any ideas for any what ifs that you want to see. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.